All right, we're going to get started with lesson 1 of the M&M, the Manhood and Masculinity series. Lesson 1 is it's okay to be a man. It's okay to be a man. Let's go ahead and pray. Father God, thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for these guys. I pray you'd bless and you'd guide them. Thank you for the life skills series. I just pray that it would be something that would be profitable, that we would just all learn together. I pray we'd have mutual respect for one another, and that it would just be a time of growth and of encouragement and inspiration. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. So guys, I don't know if you realize this, but our world and our culture is really attacking, looking good, Michael, is attacking men and even more that masculinity. I don't know if you guys realize that or not. Our culture has really been trying to neuter masculinity for years. Dads and men have really been seen kind of as fools. They've been seen as like the comic relief. Just watch like any TV show, sitcom, or whatever. They portray men as really not having any real authority, and the household would like fall apart if the wife or the woman didn't step in and like be the sounding of logic. And so really what I guess you could say Hollywood, TV shows, whatever, our culture has really made out men to be kind of like these hollering, dancing fools, basically. There's an article that was put out just a few years ago, and the article was called 25 Best TV Dads That Were Good to Make Us Laugh. That was the title of the article. They talked about like Homer Simpson, Peter from Family Guy, Phil from Modern Family, and of course the article was written by Pioneer Women, the company, Pioneer Women. We were not designed to be just court gestures. We were not designed to just be the comic relief. Men are designed to be men. Men are designed to be masculine. God himself designed men to be masculine, designed men to be powerful, intelligent, intuitive, and inspiring. God designed to be men to be leaders, to be conquerors, to be warriors, and even kings. I liked how Jordan Peterson talks about how men are designed to be lions.
She just chose him out of this crowd. Do you think men are important? Sure. Like for what?
It's not okay, necessary. What the hell are we going to do without men? You look around the city here and there's still these buildings go up. These men are doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers, they're up on the power lines. And the storms and the rain. Functioning with a massive infrastructure of unbelievably hard-working, solidly laboring, working-class men breaking themselves in half on a regular basis, making sure that everything that always breaks works.
All right, what I'm not saying is, don't think that I'm saying I'm promoting a male-only dominant culture where women are held down as lesser. That is definitely not what I'm talking about. You guys may remember my lesson from last week. We talked all about respecting who? Women. That's what we talked about last week. So I don't want you to think that what I'm saying today is that we don't respect women. No, to be a real man means you actually do respect women. Quite the opposite than seeing women as being lesser. Real masculine men, they hold up their women. They hold them up. They take care of their wives, their mothers, their sisters, their daughters, and we talked a lot about that last week already. Men lift people up out of danger. It really is a good way to kind of define what a real man is. They take the blows of life while they're protecting someone else. A real man protects. Real men know when to be hard and aggressive, but they also know when to be soft and nurturing. I like this saying. I don't remember if it's a Chinese proverb. I don't know where it is. I'd have to look up the origin. But the saying is this: the same hand that can swing a sword can also what? Can you guys remember? I've said it before. I mean, kind of close. Pick a flower. Who said that? Lavari? Pick a flower. Very good. The same hand that can swing a sword should also be able to pick a flower. We're going to actually talk about meekness later on. I don't know if it'll be next week, I don't remember, or the following week, but we're going to talk about what meekness actually is, and we'll talk more about that later. I'm also not saying that men need to go around saying or showing how masculine they are. That really is not what real men do. They're more subdued than that. Another thing that I like that just came to my mind with that is those who know how to bite usually don't have to. I just kind of like that idea. You don't have to show how strong you are, how powerful you are. Sometimes you can just enter a room and you can kind of know, okay, this guy is a real man, this guy is a leader, that sort of thing. Men are not designed to be these domineering bulldozers. I don't like the term toxic masculinity, but it is starting to grow on me a little bit. Because I think the term toxic, thank you, masculinity is overused, and I think it is misapplied to men just being men. But I do see also when men will use their power, so to speak, or their masculinity for selfish purposes, for bad purposes, that sort of thing, they'll misuse what power they have. It's said that in order to be a real man, you have to be two things: competent and dangerous. Does that make sense? What does competent mean? What does it mean, Gabe? Able. It means you're able to do something. That's a good way to say it. I like how it's very simple. Gabe, good job at having a one-word direct answer. I appreciate that. That means you value your words. Good job.
Don't lie.
So, no, it is. That's true. So if you're competent in something, that means you know how to do something, you understand it, and you're able to function in whatever it is you're functioning. But also at the same time, you should be dangerous. What happens if you're only competent? What would you be? Well, you would be weak, right? Think about like a rabbit, like a timid rabbit. A rabbit may be competent to get through life, but they're not dangerous, are they? So they're not, some have you been to the 4-H fair? Right. But like being competent means you understand something. But if you don't have a little bit of danger in you, then you're just weak. You may be competent, but you're weak. What happens if you're only dangerous? Then what happens? Then what happens, Moses? That's actually the end of the story, correct. You go to jail, you go to prison. If you're only dangerous, competent and dangerous men will then control you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And ultimately it could end up being like prison, like what Moses said, right? So if you're only competent, you'll just go through life weak. If you're only dangerous, you'll probably not go through life because you'll be locked up or dead, because men who are competent and dangerous at the same time, they will control you. I mean, really, a police officer is kind of like maybe the best example. A good police officer, he's competent, but also he can be dangerous. You see how that kind of works? So toxic masculinity is when a man typically takes the dangerous side and he says, I'm not going to be competent. I'm just going to bulldoze my way through life. I'm going to push people around. I'm going to basically bully. Bully is taking advantage of those who are weaker. If you go up against someone who is equal to you, that's not necessarily bullying. Now that may be a fight, that may be an altercation, but a bully is one that takes advantage of the weak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No.
All right, that doesn't make sense?
That makes
It does? Okay, all right, very good. Meekness is like this, and I'm gonna get into it more. Meekness is basically power under control. It's being dangerous, or being, you could say, even a monster, but you control that danger. You control who you are, basically. You're competent, but you're also dangerous at the same time. But what exactly is a man? Like, what is a man? How do you define a man? Well, biologically, a man is an adult male human. That's what a man is. Men have an X and a Y chromosome, while women have two X chromosomes. Physically, a man has male sexual reproductive organs, and when a boy enters puberty, typically develops broader shoulders. We just talked about that last week. Broader shoulders, increased strength, a deeper voice typically, and facial hair. That's typically what happens. That's what makes up biologically a man. While these things are true, I would argue that makes a person a male. Maybe not a man, though. I'm going to kind of describe what I mean by that. Good. There are many, many males out there who are not actually what? Men. And really the question is, who will you be?
A man.
Okay? Well, then you're going to have to prove it. A man is more than your DNA. Being a man is more than just your physique. It's more than broader shoulders. It's more than strength. A man is a male who has then accepted who he is and has decided to use his power to influence the good around him. That's what a real man does. You take a male and he becomes a man when he decides to do that. There's also a really cool video. I want to show it to you sometime. It's of this boy. I think it's over in, where is it? I can't remember what country it's in. But there's a baby that's stuck down in a concrete tube thing, like a really deep, and then this boy who's like, I don't know, maybe like 12 or 13, he's small enough to fit into the hole, and they put him all on like the ropes and stuff, and they send him down, and they pull him out, and he rescues this baby. Maybe, I can't remember. But I remember watching that video, and I remember kind of even getting a little bit emotional, because I'm like, that boy went into that tube a boy, and he came out a man. I mean, for real. I mean, that's pretty powerful. I'm not gonna show it to you today, but maybe I'll try to while we're doing this series. So being a man is more than just your DNA. It's more than just your physique. A man enters a situation and he leaves it better than the way he found it. A male will enter a situation and he'll take what he can get, and he'll leave the situation or the person or whatever it is more empty than when he first entered the situation. He just takes what he can take, what he can get, and then he leaves, and wherever, it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be a classroom, it could be a bedroom, whatever it is. A real man enters a situation and makes it better after he leaves. Okay? A man stands on his own 2 feet while still being willing to ask for help when he needs it. If you're not willing to ask for help, you probably have what's called pride, and I mean like in a bad way. You're saying, I don't need anyone's help, I don't need anything from anybody, and that really is a weakness. So a male will say, I don't need any help from anybody, I don't need that. He's gonna rely only on himself ever. I tell you what, I would not have gotten very far in my life if I didn't ask for help when I needed it. If I just tried to push through life on my own, I would not be even near where I am today. Yes, sir.
Do you think pride comes with arrogance?
It can be coupled with arrogance, sure. Arrogance would be maybe a symptom of pride. Pride's the internal, right? And maybe arrogance is the external that shows it, if that's a good way to say it. A man is self-sacrificing. He does what he needs to do to take care of his life and those around him, those that are under his care. A male, not a man, but a male, will allow himself to just lose control. He'll allow himself to just go through life and just try to get what he can get. He doesn't care about what it costs other people. A man will quickly admit, are you ready? A man will quickly admit his own faults. He does not lie. He does not lie, but he embraces truth. Sometimes real men can lie sometimes. I'm talking about habitually, like over and over and over. A real man quickly admits his faults, does not lie, take habitually over and over and over. He embraces truth, even if that truth costs him something. Does that make sense? Okay. Then, once he's done that, once he's admitted his faults, he's chosen not to lie, he has chosen to embrace truth, even if it costs him something, then what he'll do is he will then seek restitution. He will seek to make it up. Like if he costs someone something, whatever that is, even could be relationally. Like if you lie to someone, I don't know if you realize this or not, but if you lie to someone, you actually are making them cost something. You're taking something from them, and what would that be? Starts with T, ends with trust. Trust. So you're close, Jackson. You're close. So what you'd want to do is, a real man is going to say, I messed up. Here's what I did specifically. I'm embracing that. I may face consequences for it. What can I do to make up for it?
Apologize.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. That's a good start. Sure, it's a good start. Agreed. A male, on the other hand, not just a man, but a male, he will deny wrongdoing. He'll deny wrongdoing. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. He'll defer. Maybe he'll defer blame. Or, yeah, I did that, but it's because of this, this, and this. So in essence, it's not my fault, but whoever else. Do you guys remember last week when we talked about Adam and Eve? What did Adam do when God said?
He blamed it on Eve.
Thank you, Jackson. He blamed it on Eve and ultimately blamed it on
Her.
well, ultimately God. Right. So it's been a problem for us from the beginning. What's that? Yeah, he did. He said, the woman you gave me, she gave me the fruit and I ate. So really he was deferring responsibility.
I was like, how do you know you're naked?
A man does good and stays away from bad. A male will just follow his appetites. He'll just follow whatever I want to do, whatever I feel like doing. I'm going to go do it. I'm not thinking about the consequences. I'm not thinking about the cost. I'm just going to go do it. I just want the quick fix. I'm not feeling good. I feel bad for XYZ reason, whatever it is. So I need something to mask or to block that feeling. But here's what happens. If you do that, you don't learn how to deal with your emotions. I don't know if you know this or not, but if you started using marijuana at a young age, I'm just going to throw in, let's say at 12 years old. Let's say you started smoking weed at 12 years old. What happens is then, when you get into a jam emotionally, what do you typically want to go do?
Smoke that.
It could be nicotine, it could be weed, whatever. But if it's a substance especially, what happens, I don't know if you realize this or not, what happens in your brain is when you feel the trigger again, the emotion, and you keep masking it with a substance, what happens is emotionally, whatever that time is that you started smoking, you get stunted emotionally at that age.
You get stunted.
Does that make sense? So let's say pretend you started smoking at 12. And now you're 14. This is pretend. I'm not thinking of anyone, I'm just saying, giving a number. Now you're 14. Emotionally, you're still 12. Because you didn't teach yourself how to embrace and deal with your emotions substance-free. And now, I'm just guessing here, maybe some of you, being that you're at Pineview and it's been so long since you had a substance, all of a sudden now, these emotions come up and what happens? You don't what?
You don't smoke that.
You don't know how to deal with it. It's different because your brain emotionally in that area of your life is still back at when you started smoking. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. That's why I'm saying here, a male, not a man, but a male, just follows his appetites. I'm hungry. I feel bad. I'm emotionally down, whatever it is. So I'm just going to do the quickest, easiest thing to not feel bad anymore. And you're actually hurting yourself in the long run if you do that. Okay.
Andrew Tate.
I can get to him later. A man is quick to listen, and some of you guys really need to work on this. Is quick to listen, slow to speak. How many in here, when you're confronted with something, just start talking? Yeah, it happens, right? It happens.
Be honest.
That part of you can put your hands down, that part of you still needs to grow. You still need to grow up in that area. And if you recognize these areas that you need to grow up, fine, that's good. It's good to raise your hand and know what it is. But a man is quick to listen. So when someone comes up and says something, okay, what are they saying? I'm not gonna talk, even if they're confronting me on something. I'm not gonna talk, I'm gonna listen to what they have to say, because I wanna know really what's going on. Then once I've processed it, then I'm gonna open my mouth and I'm gonna speak. Does that make sense? What happens is when we're confronted with something, especially something we don't like, and we just start talking, we're not even listening to what the person's saying, and sometimes we can make it worse than even really what it is. So a man is slow to speak, slow to speak, quick to listen, and then he chooses his words wisely. I appreciate what Gabe said when I asked what does the word competent mean, and he said able. He didn't give me a paragraph. He didn't tell me a story. He just said, he didn't even say it means you're able. He just said able. I appreciate that. I appreciate it when people use their words wisely, because that means the value of the word is higher. If you have to say the same message and it takes you 100 words, that means each word is less valuable, because it's still the same message. So if you can say it in a few words, those words are more valuable. Does that make sense? Good catch. All right. A man, a real man, keeps his life clean, his lungs clean, his body clean, his language clean, his car clean, his home, his friends, his family. Why is it important to keep those things clean? Why do you think?
I would say because they're one of your valuables.
Okay, shows you value whatever that is. Okay.
That represents you.
Okay.
So, like, if your lifestyle is always dirty, sticks, bro. Sorry, hold up. If your lifestyle is always dirty,
Yeah.
then people are going to think that you're dirty.
Okay, you're getting real close to why it's important to keep your life clean. If other people are going to think that your life is dirty, what are they going to do? Are they going to be, what?
Assume.
Well, assume, but are they going to draw near to you, or are they going to stay away from you?
Stay away.
And if people are staying away from you, how can you have a positive impact or influence on those people? You can't. You can't. Yes, Gabe? Did you have a question? Or were you answering that? Okay, I got you. Was it the right answer? I believe you. Okay. All these things, they're just some of what it looks like to be a real man, and not just a male. There's definitely more. Being a man can look very different from person to person, depending on setting, depending on culture, age, interest, whatever. I have a friend. Have you guys ever seen, I don't think it's on the air anymore. Is Ice Road Truckers still on the air? Yeah. Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, it might be reruns or whatever now, though. So when I lived in Alaska, I had a friend who, he wasn't on the show, but his truck was. They asked him if he wanted to be on the show, and he said no, for whatever reason. But this guy, he's one of the Ice Road Truckers. I knew him. I know him well. He is a man. He physically is a large person. He's like 6'4". I'm 6'1". So imagine he's 6'4". He's got that handlebar mustache, right? I would not want to upset him. I'm afraid that I would leave maimed, that kind of thing. If you put like an axe and put a helmet on his head, you'd see a real Viking. I mean, that's what this guy looks like. He outweighs me by at least 50 pounds. I mean, he's a big guy. He looks and acts and smells and talks like a man. Okay?
Wait, yeah, why you
I have another friend. Who plays piano professionally.
What's his name?
He's an incredible musician. He's very talented, but he's very different than my Ice Road Trucker friend. He's very soft-spoken. He doesn't have a very large frame. He's smaller. I don't know if he could hold an axe, let alone swing one. I mean, it's just kind of how he is. But both of these men, they are they are true men indeed in their own way. They both take care of their personal kingdom, so to speak, but in very different good ways. Their wives, their children, they're very much loved and taken care of. They both make sacrifices for their families. They both provide financially and emotionally and relationally for their families. Both of these men in different ways are definitely still very much real men. Now, I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but you guys are in the identity forming stage of your development. Are you guys aware of that at all? No? Okay. So there's a guy, a very smart person, smarter than me. His name's Eric Erickson, and he basically gave us these stages of growth or stages of development for people. You guys, ages 12 to 18, are in the identity versus confusion stage, just of your brain development. I don't know if you guys need me to tell you. Do any of you guys feel confused sometimes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Jackson said it just about perfect. He said, yes, I don't even know who I am, which is exactly what Eric Erickson says. He says from that 12 to 18 years, you have identity forming issues and it's surrounded with clouds of confusion. That's exactly what it is. As you get older, 16, 17 into 18, you may still feel that to a point, but it'll be less intense. It's kind of like that 13, 14, 15 years that it may feel really intense, if that makes sense. So you guys are in that identity forming versus confusion stage of development. So what that means is, it doesn't mean you have to figure out what you're going to do the rest of your life. It doesn't mean you need to figure out like your job or your career or relationship stuff or who and when you're gonna get married and all those sorts of things. You don't, where you're gonna go to school, etc. You don't have to figure that out. But what you are figuring out, listen up, what you are figuring out is what kind of man you're going to be, figuring it out later. Does that make sense? So as you figure out what you're gonna do, who you're gonna be, where you're gonna go, you're figuring out right now in your stage of development what kind of person you're gonna be while you figure life out. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
That's where you're at. All right. Questions on any of that?
No, sir.
Okay. What did I say that stuck out to you? Someone tell me. What was what I say that stuck out to you?
You said, like, I mean, there's kind of like a lot of things popping in my head, so I'm going to say the first thing.
What's the first thing?
It was like, a man is like competent, but dangerous, but then if you're competent, then you're not dangerous. Like, if you're able to do everything, but you know, got like motivation to do it type stuff, or like the will to, or like the able, like, if you're able to do something but you don't do it, then you're not a man. Like, it's because you're not doing nothing. And another thing was, like, males like go into situations like who they can't out of it and then leave. And that was like I kind of did that my whole life. I just saw like what's in it for me out of this situation.
Sure.
And I just dip out and not care about nobody else. Like, and I would do stuff like, and I would think of how it affected people. And now I'm just sitting here doing the time for how I affect other people. I never care about it. But if it was me, I know I'd been heathen.
But if it was what? Say it again.
Me, I know I'd have been heathen. Like, I'd have been mad about it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for listening. Yeah, that was very well said. Yeah, Caden?
One thing that did stick out to me was that you said there's a difference between a man and a male.
Sure. Yeah. Just growing up naturally doesn't deem you a man. It may deem you a male, but not a man. It's your conduct and how you impact the world that deems you a man or not. Gabe?
Men are designed to be men or lions.
Sure, right. Yeah. Isaac?
So much I wrote it down.
Men listen quick and speak slow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I saw some more hands. Jackson? You have a thought? Yeah.
So listen, it's gonna sound weird, but when you said that you had two friends that are men,
Mm-hmm.
one of them was an ice trucker that had a persona, someone that was dangerous, but you had another friend that's a man that had a persona, someone that's easygoing. So
Sure, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
I would say like that stuck out to me because I see a lot of people, including myself, trying to be someone you're really not. Like, you know, trying to have like a kind of like a trucker build. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
They think they're all hard and stuff. But
Yep, yep.
You can also be a man, but like not having, you know, all that.
Yep. I want to say this, and I don't know if this will resonate with anybody, but even amongst you guys, you know, I feel like I know some of you better than others, but at the same time, there's some that stick out in my mind as being further along in their maybe masculinity than others, and age really has nothing to do with it. One of the things that I see is when one of you guys choose to do what's right, even if the other guys in the house give you a hard time for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's sometimes when you guys will either not say something that you know you should, or you'll say or do something that you know you shouldn't because you feel the pressure of the other boys of the house. But if one of you says, no, I'm not gonna do that, or I'm gonna do what's right, or I'm gonna say that maybe to a staff or whatever, and even if I get the pressure or I get the cost of the other guys giving me a hard time, whatever that means, I think that shows more masculinity than not. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Preach.
Okay. Preach. Okay. All right, any other comments or questions before I do, yes sir? Yes sir. Well, I don't know, it's just how it's made.
I use that.
This is my special pen.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
very
yeah.
nice.
Oh, does it? You want to see it?
I used it today.
Joke's on you. No, you can see it. I'm teasing you. Yeah, oh, thank you. Oh, no. Oh, my special pen. Oh, that was me? Oh, there he goes. He's deferring. He's blaming. No, I'm teasing. No, it's okay. Yes, sir.
Just like the
You
average.
said, men have,
Ronnie, can I see your special pen?
Hold on a second.
what's your chromosome?
We have XY.
XY?
Yep, it's part of our DNA.
A woman has an XX.
Yep, correct. Yep. Yeah, it's DNA. It's basically the makeup of what makes everything. But yeah, that's how men and women are made. Yes. Junior, you got something?
Question
Yes, sir.
about the extra chromosome crap.
The extra. Well, men have an X and a Y, and women have an XX, and that's what makes women women. It's like the instruction book, basically, of the DNA is like the instruction book of what builds you organically. Does that make sense?
No.
Kind of, sort of. You'll get into it in school, biology and whatnot. You'll get. Oh, you already had it. Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Okay, very good. You guys ready for pay attention prizes?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got a purple one and a yellow one.
I want the yellow.
Okay.
I want the purple.
All right, you guys ready for your question?
No.
All right. I said that there were some examples of some fictional characters on TV that you already look disappointed. Okay. That were deemed as, kind of like the what do you call it? Like the comic relief, the funny guys, whatever. I mentioned 1, 2, 3 of them. Okay, I just randomly mentioned because it's what was in the article. Okay, you have to tell me all 3. Okay, you guys ready?
Bananas.
I'll do it later. Go, Jackson. Doggone you. All
Homer
right.
Simpson, Peter Griffin, and Phil from Family Guy. I meant not Phil. Phil from Modern Family.
That is correct. You want purple or yellow?
Purple's a man's color.
There you go. That's actually a color royalty. Okay, next question. I gotta do harder questions. That was way too easy. Hold on. Let's see here. What would be a good question?
How old are you?
Devin, what would be a good question?
Number 4.
What color your hair is gonna be when you turn 58?
Wait, wait, Ronnie, do what age you don't know yourself.
Okay, so I said that there was a guy a lot smarter than me who came up with the stages of development. And I said that your stage that you're in, the 12 to 18, is identity versus confusion, correct? What was the man's name? I got a feeling Gabe knows. Where'd he go? Oh, that was Hunter. That was Hunter. Can you tell me his name? Very good, Gabe. Gabe's jumping around. was great. All right, you guys got small groups. Go to small groups. Small groups. Thank you guys.